Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. I am overjoyed to be present in the meditation room on another amazing Monday. I am speaking and declaring by faith that all is well, not only with me, but with you, even in the midst of a lot of things going on in our lives and in the world and within. I declare that all is well. Right? And even as I say all is well, even if you're not okay, it's okay to be not okay. That's how we roll in the meditation room with Dr. K for Midlife Music. So welcome into the room. Welcome to a new season. We have shifted from summer into fall or autumn on September 23rd. And we are in a new season, and you are starting to feel it, even though it is absolutely beautiful today and the next few days. It feels like summer is hanging on, right? What do you say? 80-degree weather at the beginning of October. I don't say anything but hallelujah and enjoy it. It was absolutely a beautiful day today. So, welcome. And it is October. We know that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We know that it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And other interests happen in October. But on Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings, we are also acknowledging that this is Menopause Awareness Month. And World Menopause Day happens on October 18th. We are putting together a virtual event for us on Wednesday, October 18th. It's going to be fun and inspirational, just a time for us to do something a little bit different to acknowledge and honor this season in our lives as women. So, hey, welcome. This is where we believe that it is all things enlightenment and empowerment for Black women in midlife and all that that entails, including all that comes with whatever continuum you are on that pause, whether you're perimenopause, dealing with that really one day of menopause, and are on the other side of postmenopause and all that that brings. We are here to normalize the conversation, mhm, destigmatize the conversation as women, to not be seen as if we are overly emotional or nobody is really acknowledging and recognizing the very real transition that happens spirit, soul, mind, and body. And we are decolonizing it as well. In other words, the westernized version of what that means for us as women to go through this season. It is not a season of invisibility, but it is a season of growth, rebirth, celebration, and confidence as we evolve and become. I love it. How about you? Hey, Sister Max. Glad to see you in the room, and all of those who may be watching on the various platforms, whether you're on Enlightened Woman Facebook page, Enlightened Woman private Facebook page group, or on the YouTube channel Kelly V. Hayes. Welcome, and please do leave your comments. So, and why is it important to leave your comments? Because we are a community, we are a sisterhood, and we learn from one another. And your insight and your wisdom, your experiences, your testimonies that you share with one another matters, because we are not on this journey alone and we are not by ourselves. So there's always collective wisdom that can be shared and insight that helps us along our journey. So, welcome. I love seeing that because I'm just glad to be here and glad that you are here as well. And because this is our special time that we set aside for ourselves to be in the company of our sisters and to learn and to grow. So, yay, come on in, come on in. All right, so we are continuing our radical reset conversations. Um, for those of you who may or may not know, we just recently came out of our Serenity Experience for Women in Midlife 2023. It was absolutely amazing. And I had already decided that as we came through that, that would be some downtime for me. But how many you know life's life will life you. Life happens, and had to deal with some family grieving for the loss of some loved ones, right, one right behind the other. And that quiet time was turned into prep time to travel and to be with my family. And so I am also in the midst of what I would call a reset for myself. And I found out that this is actually October, and the changing of the season is actually an optimal time to reset. Reset your mindset, your body, and then again in May, which is spring. That has been my pattern, and then found out and had it confirmed and affirmed by Dr. Marcia Levi, who was with us at the Serenity Experience, listening to an interview that she was on. And she said that October is a great time for reset, and then again in spring and May. And for me, it was because it was spring, but it's also because that's my birthday month. And turns out that that's a great time on the cycle of life and seasons to stop and reset. Now, while we are in this season of radical reset conversations, we started out in September with radical mindset reset. Please visit the YouTube channel and review those broadcasts or the website. So make sure you do that, because that was some powerful insight. I wanted to start off this radical reset conversations and reset with our mind, because anything that comes after that, it is successful because we have created a mindset. Everything begins between these two ears. It's what you think. What you think about is how you think will help determine and empower your ability to make change, to reset, to transform, to transition. It's all about what you think and how you think. And the good thing is, what we learned is that we are not our thoughts. We stand outside of our thoughts, and we judge and edit those thoughts and change them, right? And so go ahead and listen, watch those replays, and be empowered to reset your mind. And so I thought the very next step would be to talk about resetting my physical body, to lead us through the month of October, resetting what we're doing in our bodies to allow us to use this time to monitor what we're eating, what we're drinking, how we're moving it, And I must say, I am still going to do that to a certain degree and share with you some of the things I've started to do. But the flow of the spirit is so important to me. And that has been one of my mantras or positive affirming declarations was I am focusing on what is important and flowing with the leading of the Holy Spirit. So in my focus and flow moments, Spirit said, not yet, for the radical reset of our temple, right? Then that this next radical reset that we're going to focus on is our spirit. So for the month of October, we are doing a radical spirit reset. Even when I said that, I just felt it in my spirit. Woo, had to take a deep breath and release it. Woo. And before we move on, as I just mentioned, this is Menopause Awareness Month, and it is World Menopause Awareness Day will be coming up October 18th. And to remind you that this time of rite of passage for women in midlife is not just about what symptoms we're experiencing, what symptoms we are going through, right? It's really also about mastering your midlife inner life. As for the longest, I will always say we are learning how to master our midlife, mastering midlife, both the magnificence and messiness of it all. And Spirit had to remind me that it's not just that. I need you to help yourself and the women focus on mastering your midlife inner life. Because when you are sound and focused and really grounded, all the other stuff that comes along with this season, the discombobulation that happens, the spirit, the physical upheaval, the mental and emotional upheaval that happens, we need to be grounded to be able to walk through it. And that starts within, right? Hey, Sister Yvonne, woo, woo, woo. Love you. Right? So we have to be grounded in this season. If not, we will see this season as a crisis, right? We will see this season as something that we're losing complete control over our bodies, right? And our mind and all that comes along with our life, we will feel like we're overwhelmed or at the whim or victimized, right, by our own bodies in this season. And so it's very important for us to master our midlife inner life. That part of us that is the real us. Right. So that's where I want to start. So I titled this evening's session or gathering or broadcast, whatever we want to call it, Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K, is I miss me. I miss me. Because what happens during midlife and all of those things and issues and concerns and experiences that we've had up until this point in our life, if we've oppressed anything or suppressed anything, I don't want to say oppressed. If we've suppressed things and emotions and experience, if we've silenced our voices, if we have overextended ourselves in the interest of others for so long and we've neglected our own self in midlife, that stuff begins to surface. And you have to either face it, right? Or you will begin to have physical ailments, mental, emotional, ailments, because it's trying to come out. It's trying to get you to face it and deal with it and manage it, to release some things and to allow yourself a new beginning, right? I mean, that stuff begins to start knocking on your door. It might have started as a little quiet knock, but after a while, it's going to get louder and louder, that requires you to deal with any unfinished emotional business so that you can grow and evolve. So we are talking, I miss me, because by the time you're in midlife, you could have gone through so much, been, um, I want to say, you've experienced so much life. You've dealt with disappointments, you've dealt with wins and victories. And sometimes our life gets so busy during this time, we may be dealing with um, unexpected diagnoses, unexpected things on jobs and life changes. You might have to move all of a sudden, or you might have to do a career change or new opportunities. You may have to care for parents or a sibling or even your children or grandchildren. There might just be things that happen. You may have to relocate. All kinds of things begin to happen and surface during this time, right? And it can cause you to feel like your feet is not on solid ground. And we have to be careful not to be driven, to be pushed and pulled along, right? Like somebody push you in a river and it's just carrying you along, instead of you and I being able to make choices about where our energy goes, where our time goes, right? Those things that we end up doing because we feel like we should, or there's some guilt there. And so we feel like we have to do things because we feel guilty. We may have made some um, maybe not best decisions or choices, and we feel bad about it, and we feel like we have to make up for it. And before we know it, we have lost ourselves in the midst. And I want to challenge us to say to ourselves, I miss me, right? And then sometimes it might be hard to even say, I miss me, because we have been so estranged from ourselves, we don't even realize that we're not ourselves any longer, that we are a former shell of ourselves, or we have contorted ourselves so much to please other people that we no longer recognize ourselves. Midlife is a perfect time to reclaim yourself. Mm, right? To reintroduce you to you. Some things may have changed, some of your desires, your dreams may have changed, who you are, those things that you want, those things that bring you joy, make you happy, may have changed. And this is the season for those things to change and for you to be okay with it, right? So I miss me, and the power of reflection. That's where we're going to start, because the real you is spirit. We are housed, the real us, the real you is housed within a body, but the true you is spirit. It's that that part of you that connects to your creator in a way that cannot be seen or is not tangible, but it is nonetheless real and powerful. So the real you is spirit, but we spend so much time focusing on the outward appearance that sometimes the real us, the true us, becomes anemic. And we are almost disappearing. Well, this is the season that we reclaim her. But we start with how we're thinking, we start with our spirit, right? Your spirit, who you are, that inner voice, that inside knowing, that place of discerning, that place of intuition, right? Especially for women, we have that gift. And a lot of times it is conditioned out of us. And we're told so many times and in so many ways that we are not capable or able or smart enough, right? And then we begin to second guess ourselves and not trust our own inner voice. And sometimes because we're so busy comparing ourselves to other people and living outside of ourselves, we lose that ability to tap in and live from the inside out and not the outside in, to live from our spirit and not our emotions. Whew. So, I miss me means I realize that I'm not walking or living or operating from my authentic self. Hmm, the you that your creator speaks to, converses with, communes with, right? And for a radical spiritual reset, I'm just going to share a few things today that your spirit requires intentional attention and cultivation. Your spirit requires intentional attention and cultivation. It's like if you have a garden, right? Whether it's flowers or vegetables or herbs, you cannot just plant the seeds and then don't do anything else. And I'm not necessarily a gardener. I have some friends who really, really love gardening. My grandfather was amazing, had amazing green thumb. His lawn was always green and lush and trimmed, right? He had a garden in the backyard where he would grow tomatoes and cucumbers. But I also watched him do the work. It wasn't just beautiful on its own, it didn't just happen without any effort. I would watch him. He had the lawnmower, the gas one, and you just pull the thing. He would cut that grass. He had this trimmer that he would trim. And then he had this other machine, for lack of better terms, that had holes in the bottom. And I would watch him empty the bag of fertilizer, seed, and all the stuff in it. And then he would, well, before he did that, actually, he then had this rake that he would use seasonally and at the right time. And he would rake and rake and rake and pull up, dead stuff. And then he would go back over it with that seed fertilizer thing that he would push, and as he pushed it along it would fall out of the bottom, and it would fertilize and um, really unearth and cause the earth. He used the rake to break up the earth, and any fallow ground, then he would go back over it with the seeding and the fertilizer. And then I would watch him as he would just love. He would use the sprinkler sometimes, but I think it was this his way of relaxing or meditating. He would use the sprinkler head on the hose, and he would just be out there in a chair, and he would just be just in his world, sprinkling and watering the grass. And when he was in the back with his garden. He would tend it, he would till the land, and he would pull the weeds. And if a tomato plant or whatever plant was like drooping, he would take a stick and put it in and tie it up to shore it up. And he would prune things. He would take the time. He paid intentional attention to that which he was growing, right? And then he would cultivate it. He would spend time doing what a spreader. Yes. I didn't know what that thing was called. Yes, but he would um, pay intentional attention. He would on purpose be attentive, right? And then cultivate it. He would do what was necessary for it to produce what it was supposed to produce, for it to look healthy. Your spirit is the same way. You are spirit, and we have been taught and conditioned because we're judged so much by our outward appearance that we spend more time doing things for our outward body instead of what's on the inside, right? We need to flip that ratio. This is not about not taking care of your body, because when you take care of your spirit, you are led then to do what's best for your body, right? So that means you have to cultivate it and pay attention by being in tune with what you are what shows up on the outside is indicative of what's going on the inside, right? So, how do you pay intentional attention to your spirit and cultivate it, right? Through spiritual means and through spiritual disciplines. Now, there's a whole nother teaching to talk about what's spiritual and what's not spiritual. My view of what's spiritual may be a little broader than others, but it's not out of the norm and not out of the realm of who we are as a people naturally and then who we are as women. So, through spiritual disciplines is how you cultivate your spirit. And I know we might be a little afraid of that word discipline, but all discipline is a consistent way of doing and being. It's nothing bad, it's not heavy, right? We always tend to lean towards the word discipline, meaning punishment, right? Something that you got to make yourself do. Discipline really is just a consistent way of doing something, consistently doing something that is beneficial for you, that has fruit down the road. You might not see it, but when you're consistent, you will then see the fruit. My grandfather was consistent, and so eventually he had one of the best lawns on the block. Eventually, those seeds turned into something that he would then bring in, and my grandmother would use as accoutrement for her meals. Like it was nothing like her cooking some greens and then those fresh ripe tomatoes they would cut up, woo, put it on the side. Okay, I digress. Yeah. But that happened because of intentional attention and cultivation. He was consistent to do what needed to be done to allow the seeds to produce what would then be a blessing down the road. So, spiritual discipline just means that you are consistently doing what your spirit needs to grow and evolve. So that when you are operating in the world, you're operating from an authentic, grounded place instead of all over the place. Right? So let's talk about just for a few more moments. The focus for tonight is One, deep reflection. Oh my goodness. Yes, your spirit requires deep reflection, meaning you stop, get quiet, and embrace cyclical seasons of stillness. That can be so foreign and difficult to us because the world is noisy. And sometimes we like it noisy, so we don't have to hear what's really going on the inside of us. We got to have music playing or the television on or constant conversation or constant engagement in social media. Y'all do know we're rewiring our brains with our constant connection and engagement with stimuli. We are we are training our brain not to be able to be still. We are creating new neural pathways in our brain to need stimuli. That's why there are some people who are literally addicted to their phones or social media because that constant interaction, that constant engagement is rewiring us. And the noise makes it impossible almost for us to re engage in the discipline of deep reflection, meaning to stop and think about what we're thinking about, to stop and tap in to what we are actually feeling and name it. So when we're talking about I miss me, we're talking about the real me, the real you. And to have a radical spiritual reset means, here we go again, y'all keep saying it, intentional pain, intentional on purpose attention to our inner woman, right? And then to cultivate your inner life. Woo! In midlife, there's so much transition happening. This is the season and time to really embrace it so that you can live your second half of life with more authenticity and freedom. Yes. All right. So, deep reflection. Stop, get quiet. I've learned how to ride in my car without the radio on. And it creates a level of quiet and peace within my body. I feel myself relaxing. Sometimes I have to talk to myself when I'm home, don't turn the TV off. I went to LA recently to attend a menopause education conference. And when it was time to leave, I realized that I never turned my television on the entire time when I was in the room. I needed that space because that was a major transition for me to be there as I walk out my passion and a part of my life purpose. And I needed quiet and stillness. And I realized that there've been more than one occasion when I was traveling and I was in the room by myself, I did not turn on the television. And my husband and I did for a season during one Lent season, we went without television. Can I tell you, you don't realize how tense you are, how tight your body is, how noisy your mind is until you spend some time without it. And you realize, oh my God, my heart, my mind, my spirit, my body is cluttered because I'm constantly bombarding it with stimuli and noise. If we want to be grounded and strong in spirit, we have to learn to embrace the discipline of deep reflection, which requires us to stop being busy, stop always having noise around you, right? Get quiet. Take your phone and put a timer in it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just sit. Your mind is going to race, it's going to go all over the place, but it's okay. Stop, get quiet, and then create a season of stillness. And you might have to tell everybody around you and tell yourself, all right, tonight I'm not going to turn the TV on. Or if I do play music, it is relaxation music without lyrics and without familiar music, because even if it's instrumental, if it's a song that's familiar to you, your brain will start bringing up the lyrics in your mind. I love the sound of oceans or rain, right? That is considered white noise that helps quiet your mind. And what happens when you start in those seasons of stillness? Listen to what comes up. That's the second thing. Deep reflection. Stop, get quiet, have a moment of stillness or season of stillness. And then do what? Learn to listen to what comes up. And this will not happen the very first time you do it. You're going to cultivate it, you're going to create it, you're going to pour into this discipline. So if it doesn't happen the first time, keep doing it until you begin to train your spirit to be in stillness so that you can hear the spirit speaking to you. You can hear voice, listen to what comes up. The spirit will begin to speak to you and say things like, you've been so busy that you have not given yourself opportunity to grieve. You need to cry. You need more sleep. Your spirit will begin to speak to you about what you need. Just listen to what comes up. Is it anger? Is it frustration? Right? Is it loneliness? It will begin to bubble up on the inside. Listen to what comes up. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Don't turn it away. Just sit with it in that moment. hmm We always want to hurry up and fix stuff, hurry up and control things, hurry up and change things. Sometimes while you're listening to what comes up, it may be because you need to feel it. You need to take time to just be with it, sit with it. hmm Right? And then the next step, as you release it, you may need to discard, you may need to release, whatever you need to do to determine whatever I'm feeling. Spirit, what do I do with this feeling? I sit with it. Are there some changes I need to make? Are there some boundaries I need to set? Do I need to continue this way down this road? Do I need to change? Do I need to pivot? What do I do with it when it comes up? And I'm not saying this happens in the same sitting. This might happen over time where you get to that place because you're retraining yourself to listen to yourself. You're retraining yourself to keep out the noise. Oh, keep it at bay, keep it out, right? And it may take weeks, it may take months, may take years. Just allow it to begin to happen. Because then after you do that, then what do? You fill yourself with good things. In other words, you continue to feed your spirit, because it's your spirit that's going to uphold you. Because here's the thing, you don't do that because you then want life to stop. Nope. Life is going to keep happening. How you and I respond to life matters. And when you have cultivated your spirit, when you have cultivated and embraced your ability to discern, to intuit, to listen, to not always respond or react or to speak, but to quiet yourself, right? It will ground you, and you will find that you begin to respond to life differently. You don't need to label it or judge it or fix it, right? You it just it your spirit will begin to teach you and I how to respond to life in a way, right, that keeps us at a level of peace that maybe when we were 20, 25, 20, we weren't, because we were still so busy trying to find our way and find ourselves and be accepted and be a part, right? And here's the thing, it usually happens in midlife, but man, if we start being honest and then teaching our young women how to manage it, it won't be so much that we have to work through and recondition ourselves, right, from. And even if that's the case, wherever you are, whenever you get that realization and enlightenment and awakening happens, is good. Don't regret. Don't wish you had known it. If you could have known it before, if I had known and learned it before, I would have. We have to live at the level of consciousness we are in any given place and time in our lives. And in midlife, I just believe it's God's timing for women to shift their priorities, right, to legacy and wisdom. And that is something to be um, excited about and honored. Because this is not our throwaway season. We not throwaways because we have shifted in our purpose and season. This is the time to embrace it. Woo, y'all. And my spirit is like, okay, rest right now. That's it. You don't have anything to prove. That was it for tonight. That's the beginning of our radical reset conversations, radical spiritual reset. We may have some guests on as we move through the rest of this season and this time of radical spiritual reset. Mm, I love it. Put it in the comments, some things that may have come up for you, some wisdom and insight that you want to share with us, right? And then some things that you may want us to talk about as we move through the month of October, right? And sometimes, that getting still and stuff with this reset with my physical body is that I'm giving my spirit room to speak by not anesthetizing my body through food and not enough rest and not enough water. So this first week, I'm really recalibrating and focusing on drinking more water. Because sometimes we can go overboard all the way to the whole other end. I'm getting ready to um, uh, do a reset in my body. So I'm not gonna eat this. I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna do that. And I'm doing, and then we overwhelm ourselves instead of just taking little steps. Sometimes consistent minor adjustments lead to greater victories than trying to do an immediate overhaul. So as I start this first week in October, one of the things I'm doing is focusing on literally just drinking more water. Why? Because when I got still, Spirit was like, you, a lot of the things you're feeling is based on dehydration, and your body needs hydration to function properly. And with all of the changes that's going on in your body hormonally, you need to give your body what it needs to do what it needs to do. And so part of my um, reset for my body is drinking more water. Anybody want to say, hey, that might be me? Then come on, join me. Be intentional about drinking more water. Something as simple as that can make a big difference. Woo! And that's really what this season is, in this month of October for me in reset is giving my spirit room to speak. All right, y'all. I love y'all. It's time to sign off. Thank you for joining me for Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musing. Share these videos with someone that you think will benefit from it. Rewatch it, let it get in, and just join me. Invite somebody to join us in the room for the rest of October for our radical spiritual reset. Woo, I love y'all. Have a peaceful evening, and I will see you guys again real soon. Hey, Sister Yvette, I'll see you again real soon. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Good night, y'all. And remember, this is our season to rediscover the joy of being who we are in midlife and beyond. Talk soon. Good night.